I drove my Model 3 out of state for the very first time in my ownership. Did I have range anxiety? Come along with me and find out. Hi, I'm Joy. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I document my Tesla Model 3 owner experience to help new and future owners learn more about this car. If you find this video helpful and informative, please consider subscribing. Recently, I attended the Consumer Electronics Show, CES 2020 in Vegas for work. Typically, I fly for business, but this time I decided to drive my Model 3 out there because the last few times that I attended CES and I flew in, it was so chaotic. I decided to document my journey this time to stop by a few superchargers along the way, and in particular visiting the LINQ V3 supercharger in Vegas that opened in 2019. This journey demonstrated that I had zero range anxiety. And in fact, with all the superchargers along the way, it was so easy for me to plan my route and my stop and charging time that I was so relaxed and so much less stressful going to CES than I typically would, even with flying. Additionally, I had a chance to meet up with several Tesla owners who were visiting Vegas for CES and also a few who reside in Vegas and had a wonderful time talking about Tesla and just getting to know one another. So enjoy the clips. It's road trip day. I am heading out to Las Vegas for the Consumer Electronics Show for work. Along the way, I want to visit some of the superchargers out there. So my game plan is I'm going to drive out to Yermo Supercharger, as I mentioned in my November road trip, desert road trip video here. I love that supercharger because it has Eddie World with a ton of food choices and it's a great pit stop. So I'm going to grab lunch there. It is 10:30 a.m. right now, and I am supercharging my car a little bit. So I'm going to drive out to Yermo, supercharge, and then I'm going to stop at the Primm Supercharger, which is at the border of California and Nevada. So I'll go check out that supercharger and to charge it up a little bit, not all the way through, because I'm going to leave my car at the hotel garage for the next 2.5 days. And the car will drain the battery, but before I come back home, I want to go charge at the LINQ V3 supercharger in Vegas. So that's my game plan right now, and let's get on the road. Here's something interesting that I just observed. I am charging at the Culver City supercharger, and originally I had this set to 80%, and just for trip planning purposes, see, it takes 25 minutes to charge to actually 90%, but just for trip planning purposes, I told it to navigate to the Yermo supercharger. Navigate to Yermo supercharger. And when I say yes, it doesn't tell me the route, but my charging time is now reduced to 5 minutes so that it will give me 10% when I reach Yermo. And it says remove charging stops. That's interesting. I've never seen this before. So what if I do this? Now that goes back to 25 minutes and gives me the full route. And then it tells me how much battery I will have left. This is really cool. I never knew about this, that if you're navigating from supercharger to supercharger, the system will tell you how much you need to charge up to in order to arrive at the next supercharger with about 10% of battery left. This is very good to know. Okay, I just reached Yermo supercharger, and let's take a look at the stats. I left with 73% of battery. Now it's down to 16%. And I drove just a little over 2 hours, and the watt hour per mile average is 277, and I drove 141.3 miles. And I used Navigate on Autopilot. I would say 99% of the time. There was that 1% of the time that I took it off because the situation got a little sticky. There was a really scary moment, which I will show a clip of two cars. They were crossing into my lane at the same time, left and right, and my car was going like this, and I had to take it off because it was pretty dangerous, and the car was beeping at me, asking me to take over manually. And there were just a few times where I did the signaling of the lane change because my decision, I felt, was better than the computer's decision. But overall, I am really happy over the last month or so since my November road trip out here that Navigate on Autopilot works so well now because they enhanced the actual speed when you're changing into the lane. So it's a lot quicker when you change into the lane now. So this is so much useful to me. I am so excited about this trip, and I feel so much less stressful driving on the road. And so thank you, Tesla. I am going to grab lunch and I'm going to charge. And next stop is Primm Supercharger. Okay, I think I got a busted charger because I was in there eating lunch and checking the progress of charging. It's been going really slowly, and then all of a sudden it just stopped charging at 66%. I don't know if you guys can see, it's quite bright here, but anyway, this charger is broken. 1B is broken. So I'm going to do the calculation and see if this much of battery can last me to Primm, which I believe it should, and then I'll just charge there. So let's check it out. So yes, this supercharger is busted because it has an error message that says unable to charge, and it just stopped. So let's see, with 66% of battery left, if that's going to last me to Primm. Again, I believe it should, but let's see. Navigate to Primm Supercharger. Well, it's going to have 25% of battery left, supposedly. So, yep, that'll do. Let's get on the road. Okay, made it to Primm, Nevada, which is right at the border of California and Nevada. So let's take a look at the stats. I drove for another hour and a half and 102 miles with the average of 295 watt-hour per mile. So let me go charge and we'll take a look at how much I should charge until I reach my hotel, Excalibur, in Vegas. Let's see, how much charge do I need to go to the hotel? And I want to turn on Sentry mode while I am at the hotel when the car is parked. So it's going to drain more battery, and hopefully when I get to the LINQ V3 Supercharger, the state of charge will be low enough for me to see that peak 250 kilowatt rate. So let's check it out. Navigate to Excalibur Hotel.
Now turn right onto Las Vegas Boulevard South.
So right now, with the current state of charge at 25%, it will leave me 11% reaching the hotel. So I am thinking I want to get to the hotel at about 50%. And right now I'm at 26. And so that's a difference of 13. So I should charge this to probably 65%. I think my math is right. If I want to turn on Sentry mode, I'm estimating 10% per day of the battery loss, given my previous test of leaving Sentry mode on for a day or for 4 days. So yeah, let's actually charge to 50%, I would say, or 55, and then we'll see what happens. I am charged to 67% right now, and I have another 37 miles to go. According to the navigation, I would reach my hotel with 54% of charge left. I think I'll just charge it to 70%. Just making an even number. So I should be heading out in the next few minutes. I'll see you in Vegas. Okay, I made it to Excalibur Hotel in Vegas, and here's the stats. Right now, let's see. I drove for another 38 minutes for about 38 miles, and the average watt hour per mile is 257. All right, Tesla meetup in Vegas and CES.
We get a portion of it. Yeah, right.
So we got Primm,
Gas Off.
or Gas Off on Twitter. We got Wilmer from East Bay Owners Club, William from Hansho, and Aaron from Hansho. We got Matt and Daniel from France. Matt is from San Jose. And we got Frank, a future Tesla owner, right? And then we got Gerald, and he has an S and X. We got Daniel, he has a Model 3, and their co-workers, Daniel and Jason. Yeah, Jason, their co-workers. And then we got Carly and Jen from Teslucky YouTube channel. Subscribe. Yeah. So this is why I love Tesla community so much, because everywhere you go, you say, hey, we're gonna be there. Anybody wants to meet up? And this happens. My official duty at CES is over, and it's time to drive home. I mentioned that I turned on Sentry mode. When I got here, I had 56% of battery. I left Sentry mode on all the time, and then last night, as you saw, I went out to a dinner. And this morning, my car is at 33%. So I'm going to navigate over to the LINQ V3 Supercharger. I don't believe I will be able to see the 250 kilowatt peak rate just because my battery isn't depleted down to 10%. So don't have too much expectation, but we will see how much power it will go up. So let's go to the Supercharger. I am approaching the LINQ High Roller V3 Superchargers. You do need a code to get inside this Supercharger, but the code is displayed on screen when you tap on the location of the Supercharger.
In 500 feet, turn right onto LINQ Lane.
And my car has been preconditioning in the last 3 miles to prepare for the Supercharger, and it drained 3% of battery just in that short amount of distance and time.
Onto LINQ Lane.
Okay, so how do I get inside to the Supercharger? Okay, here we go. They're doing a lot of constructions here.
Now your destination is on the left.
It's a little tricky, but here we are. There are 24 stalls that goes up to 250 kilowatt. me punch in the code, and I hate it because it's so far away. I have to press for a ticket. Ticket. Here we go. And here we are. They do have the slower chargers there, but obviously you want to do the V3. So this side seems to be pretty filled. So I am going to go over to the other side. Oh, this is an interesting setup here. So they have superchargers and they also have non-superchargers. Let me just park right smack in the middle of this thing. And let's charge. It just started to charge, and right away it's going up to over 100 kilowatt. So this is pretty encouraging. And I have read online that the supercharger has been heavily abused, so some of these stalls may not actually work. And the stall that I'm in, that I randomly picked, the little button when you press on the charger itself, that little button is broken, because when I pressed on it, it would not open my charge port automatically, and I had to tap on the charge port and open the charge port manually that way. So it looks like it's only going up to like 123 kilowatt. That was the highest that I saw. This was to be expected, by the way, just because my battery wasn't depleted all the way down to around 10%. But it's okay, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna charge up to 90%. It's gonna take about half an hour. Initially, my plan was to supercharge here at LINQ and then drive out to Baker, because they have a 40 stall big giant supercharger there. But I decided not to go visit the Baker supercharger because that supercharger isn't like Cattleman City, another 40 stall supercharger where Cattleman City has a nice lounge. The one in Baker has nothing, and there's just like a gas station right next to it. So I am going back to Yermo, Eddie World. I think between LA and Vegas, that's probably my favorite pit stop. And the second one is Barstow, right next to Chili's. So I'm going back to Yermo to grab lunch and then head back to LA. Hopefully the traffic won't be too bad when I get to LA area. So we'll get on the road. Actually, change of plan again. I am going to try and navigate over to the Yermo supercharger and see how much charge I need to sustain me to Yermo without going all the way up to 90% that I have to wait here for another 30 minutes. Navigate to Yermo supercharger. All right, so it looks like I only need to charge for about another 10 minutes. All right, so it's done supercharging, and it looks like I will get there with about 18% of battery left. All right, so I was going to just finish up and go, and when I was about to open the door, there was another Model 3 owner 2 stalls over that came over to me.
Now turn right on
telling me, hey, is this supposed to be V3? Because he wasn't seeing that 250 kilowatt. And I ended up chatting with him. He's also from the LA area, And so I just let the car charge. So now it's up to 83% instead of the 70% that I was aiming for. So now I have extra battery. When I get to Yermo, it'll be supposedly 34%. So that's going to be a very quick charge. Probably not enough to have lunch, but we'll see. I'll probably set the charging limit all the way to 100% just so that it'll give me some more time to actually rest and enjoy a meal before I finish my journey home. I just entered back into California, and I don't know if you guys can see it from my GoPro, but there's a sandstorm crossing the freeway right now. And my Navigator Autopilot has been performing really well. Ooh, here we go. And I have to say that now that I've driven on FSD computer or hardware version 3 with Navigator Autopilot on this trip, I would say that it is more smooth than when I had the hardware 2.5. Also last night at dinner, after dinner, I did Smart Summon. No, I did not get a chance to record it because I had 2 other passengers with me, and it was just out of the whim, I decided to do Smart Summon right in front of the restaurant. And I felt that Smart Summon was performing better on hardware 3. It was not as confused as before. And I am hitting traffic now, and let's see what's happening. I'm gonna lower my speed limit back to 70 and make the following distance all the way out to 7 so that I am not going to run into this mess. Oh, there's a terrible accident that just happened. Bunch of news crew, CHP. Yeah, that was not cool. Wow, looks like they shut down the other side, northbound of 15, right before they hit Primm. So for those that are traveling on this road today into Vegas area, they have to sit in their car and wait all the way out there until this mess is cleared up. What's happening over here? Yep, everybody's on hold. All the big trucks. Wow, this is bad. It's a parking lot now on the 15 northbound. Looks like they're diverting all the traffic to the side road, so this is completely congested here. And if you see the map, it's all red and everything. Yeah, this is a traffic nightmare right here for those that are trying to get on 15 North, passing through Vegas or going to Vegas. The traffic, they stopped it and diverted all the way back here because the desert area, there was nothing else over there that they could divert the traffic to, so they have to divert it all the way back from here to keep people moving. This is pretty bad. I feel terrible for all these people stuck in traffic, but not so bad for those that are in a Tesla with autopilot, because they just relax and let it go. And I'm seeing several Teslas, Model 3s and Model X's out there. But wow. This is insane. This traffic is absolutely insane. On the other side. We're at Yermo Supercharger, and from Vegas to here I drove 141.1 miles, in just a little under 2 hours, and watt hour per mile average was 287. And I have now 24% of battery left. So let me plug in, and I just picked a random spot. Again, hopefully this charger isn't broken like the one that I used last time over there. It started to charge, and this one's working well. It's going up to 132 kilowatt, but I only have 35 minutes, so I'm going to push this all the way out to 100%, and that will give me some more time to eat and rest, and I will be back out. I've charged my car to 93%, and I just finished eating and walked back out here. Now that I've charged at Yermo, I can definitely say that the V3 superchargers at LINQ in Vegas, they are broken, because mine didn't even go up to 133 kilowatt like this regular supercharger at the V3. So yeah, Tesla, please go fix the LINQ V3 superchargers. They are quite abused, even though it's still relatively new, and they are not charging at the rate that they're supposed to. Time to get back out on the road and go home. I have arrived, and I drove 135.3 miles from Yermo back home, and it took me a little over 2 hours. I did encounter traffic as soon as I entered in the LA area, and the average watt hour per mile is 247. So I left a little bit after 11 o'clock this morning, and this trip total took me about 5 hours, and that includes about 4 hours of drive time and about 50 minutes for lunch and break and charging. As you saw, traveling in a Tesla on a longer journey is no problem at all. And in fact, it'll make the journey so much enjoyable and so much less stressful with superchargers along the way. And also with autopilot and navigate on autopilot, you just sit back and let the car take you to your destination. Somebody joked with me that I did not drive to Vegas, but instead, my car drove to Vegas and I was only along for the ride. It is so true. I hope you liked this little documentary of my road trip to Las Vegas. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Make comments down below, ask me questions, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you next week. God bless.